Automat.
My kids don't know, wait, my kids don't,
They don't know what an
they don't know what
automatic.
an automat is. Seriously,
You never told them?
can you explain what an automat is? Can you explain an automat?
I don't know if you can explain it, you gotta see it.
Well, they're not gonna see one, so you better explain
I've never
it.
seen it in movies.
They
Have you seen it
they
in
used to
movies?
have one
On
I
42nd
don't know
Street.
what
on
it is. I've seen it.
42nd Street.
You put money in.
Uh,
get
It was
food
there
out
up
of
until
it.
about 20 years ago.
Yeah, right, down on,
You would
Open a
walk,
window, you put money in, you open a window. You seen it in a movie? What movie?
I've seen it in Amsterdam.
In Amsterdam they have
They
it?
have
Like a sandwich or something?
They have like
Those.
hamburgers and
Yeah.
hot dogs and.
well, then it was all cold foods, and then you would take it out, and then the thing would rotate for the next
Yeah.
person.
you
Oh, yeah, I've
see
seen
the
that.
panels on the door over here, all the squares.
Yeah.
Oh, it was a bag of them, yeah.
Imagine
Very
a
nice.
wall of
Half
that,
size.
A whole room of them.
except that instead of the large squares like that, they were half size. And the half size was actually a door, a swinging door that could flip open.
Uh-huh.
So from the other side of the panel, they were wide open, and there were people in the back over there preparing food. They had cakes, and they had sandwiches, and all different kinds
Yeah.
of stuff. And there was a label on the front side telling you what was in there. In order to get whatever you wanted, the cookie or the sandwich or dessert or something like that, you had to put in coins into a slot.
Like a
And it
nickel.
would tell you either nickels, it was either a nickel or a dime or 15 cents, but in multiples of 5. So there was a cashier here, if you went there with your dollar bill and she gave you 20 nickels. Then you go to the window, and if what you wanted was 10 cents, you put 2 nickels in and the window would flip open and you
Sure.
stick the hand in and get the cookie out. Or if you wanted a sandwich, it was maybe 30 cents, so you put in the appropriate number of nickels and the window would flip open and you get the sandwich out.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
it's right in
then
front of you.
you walk down the line and there was a coffee dispenser over there. And you put in a couple of coins and you got your cup of coffee. And then there was a bunch of tables, and you took your stuff over and sat down and had your food. Besides the tables, there were 6 phone booths. In those days, they had telephone booths. You went to the phone over here and you can make a call or do whatever you want. So when we started business, that became our office. It was rent-free.
You know what? The modern day equivalent,
Starbucks.
a lot of people hang out in Starbucks.
Yeah.
With their computer.
And they get free Wi-Fi and they have meetings there. I mean, people use Starbucks in a very similar way. It's really funny situation when you think about it. It was a place you could, Zach, move your hand, come on. It was a place you could just hang out.
You hang out, you make your telephone calls, make your appointments for the day.
Right.
The ice cream is really good.
Oh, it's wonderful.
It's really
The
interesting.
cream cheese?
What?
The cream cheese?
Yeah.
Once the sugar's set.
Yeah, it's just cream cheese and butter.
Is that actually all it is?
And some vanilla extract.
No, but Sam, I tasted it when it was just cream cheese and butter.
Yeah,
I said,
I
well,
agree.
it's very cream cheesy. And the sugar adds the flavor. And the vanilla. Poor Gary. With this zero. With this nothing dessert. There's berries. Gary.
Where?
In the refrigerator, there's
New ones?
raspberries and blueberries.
New ones?
I got new raspberries.
There's new blueberries in there too.
Good. What business was your grandfather in?
I don't know what he did. I think he was a carpenter, my mother's father. But he got too old for that. And his daughter, my Aunt Alice, lived in Vineland, New Jersey.
She was a communist. And we have the whole story. Chef wrote a whole story
Oh,
about
okay,
it.
hold on, keep going.
And one of her children married a guy who was a chicken farmer. He raised chickens and also eggs, and, which was a natural byproduct of chickens. And they had an egg business. They
Right.
would crate the eggs and sell it to various food stores or chains and stuff like that. So he would send a carton of eggs from Vineland, New Jersey to Lower Manhattan.
What? How could that possibly be worth it? It takes 3 hours now. Then it took even longer.
So it took longer.
For
So-
a carton of eggs?
No,
A crate.
a crate,
Oh, a whole
a
crate?
whole crate of
Oh,
eggs.
got it.
So the crate must have had one, two, at least 12 to 15 dozen eggs in it. 'Cause it was 2 sections to the crate.
Sure.
And probably 6 or 8 tiers in each section. So I would say 8 and 8, 16 dozen eggs. And somehow he would ship that from Vineland, New Jersey by truck.
So then to keep
Somebody would take
it cold,
And, yeah, and deliver it to my grandfather in Manhattan.
and then they would sell them.
And he would sell eggs to the different stores around Lower Manhattan and whatever area. it
So
covered.
around what year is that? Around,
Well, it's gotta be,
talking about in the 30s?
no, prior to that, I had to be 13 to 15 years old.
So late 30s? Late 30s?
Mid-30s or something like
I mean, that was a big effort. You had blocks of ice.
that. Yes.
You know, I
He
mean,
would go around.
that
to
wasn't
different
easy.
Places, take orders, and then the next day deliver them. So that was a big operation that he had over there.
Wow.
That was a time in the 1950s, I guess, where tinted glasses were very popular. You may have worn them, tinted glasses, pink tins, and, well, I met Felix, cousin Felix. He worked on that egg farm, and he told me the chickens would fight one another. And they could knock one eye out, and there was a problem with the chickens. And he found that if he put lenses, I thought he was kidding me, he put lenses, he stapled pink lenses, plastic lenses on the chickens, and that quiesced them. They didn't fight. They had stapled pink lenses, these chickens.
Yeah.
That's a true story.
You saw
The chickens were wearing
chickens
sunglasses.
walking around with sunglasses.
Otherwise, they would fight one another.
Oh, God.
So they walked around in rosy worlds,
Oh, my God.
at peace.
Okay.
Now that.
And what about your other grandfather?
Now, you know, my cousin, what's the guy that had the restaurant?
Michael Ranas.
Michael Runner.
Oh, yeah,
Oh, you made it his restaurant.
He died, you know.
I know,
What?
I know.
No, I'm telling you, he died.
No, I know. What happened to him?
His father had a unique business. He was a chicken vaccinator.
Chicken vaccinator?
Right.
No, they're old. They're
There's no way.
In southern New Jersey, there was a large section of chicken growers in the
Gary, these are new.
Divine, New Jersey area. There were probably a dozen chicken farms. They raised chickens, not for the chickens as much as for the eggs. And they sold the eggs to stores in northern New Jersey and Manhattan. So in order to keep the chickens healthy and productive and producing, they were subject to diseases, so this guy, how he got into the business, I don't know, but went around the farms vaccinating the chickens to protect them from these various diseases, so that the eggs that they produced would pass inspection. In those days, it was early television days, probably
You're talking 48 to 51?
probably right after World War II.
Yeah.
I remember my neighbor next door was building a TV set from a kit. But there used to be, I don't know how many TV stations operating, not many, probably 2 or 3 or 4 or something like that. And one of them had a program called What's My Line?
Sure.
You remember What's My Line?
Bennett Cerf.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, and then Dorothy something or other.
Kill something.
Kilgallen?
Kilgallen.
Kilgallen. Well, you had 4 people that were judges.
Yeah.
Surf and Kilgallen and 1 or 2 other name types of things. And a contestant would come on.
Zach,
and-
listen to this.
And the question put to the audience was, what's my line? What did that guy do? Or what did that girl do? Or woman do?
The judges had to ask yes or no
And they
questions.
would ask questions. The contestant.
But it had to be a yes or no question. Had to be yes or no, and if you got a yes, you got another chance.
And
If
it
you got a
has to
no,
be a simple question that you can answer yes or no. And they would say, are you a doctor? And he
Well,
would
nothing
say,
like that.
well, that could be it, whatever the question is. Do you drive a car? No. Do you
does it
sell
involve
stuff?
animals?
Do you sell stuff to people? Yes or no? Yes, I sell stuff to people. Do you sell birds to people? No. Do you sell animals to people? No.
So what happened
And,
when your
and,
cousin
and,
came
and
on?
that was the type of thing. And if they could not guess what the contestant did within the framework of maybe a dozen questions, the contestant would win a prize.
They couldn't remember that?
Huh?
Your grandfather went?
No. If they could guess, he got a prize also, but a lesser type of a prize. I mean, maybe he'd get theater tickets or something like that. Whereas if they could not guess, he would get a greater type of prize. So my cousin,
Fred?
what's his name?
Just a little, because I'm so
Uh,
fat
What's the guy from the restaurant?
now.
Michael Honor.
Michael's father was on the, somehow got on the show on What's My Line. And they could not guess what his line was. So when it came to the end of the program, well, okay, we give up. What is it? He said, I'm a chicken vaccinator. And they looked at him. And said, who are you kidding? What do you mean you're a chicken vaccinator? And he says, I live in Vineland, New Jersey, and I go around to all the chicken farms and vaccinate the chickens to protect them.
Yeah,
Individual.
that was a big show in the
Right,
50s.
that was a big
I mean,
show.
there weren't a lot of shows.
Yeah, yeah. but
So,
that was
you know,
the
a lot, I mean, everybody in America would
You
watch this
figure out the
stuff.
person's job.
first one. Yeah, yeah.
Wait, is this the show where the guy who witnessed the Lincoln assassination went on the show in
Yes.
1955?
Yes,
Okay, that's an incredible clip.
yes.
What
You've
do you
seen
hear?
it.
The guy was like in
This
his
guy-
90s.
This guy witnessed Abraham Lincoln being shot when he was about 5 or 6 years old. He was
Oh,
the
wait,
youngest.
you just figure out the person's secret?
Yeah, and he was the youngest person who actually was in
No,
the theater
there
when
were
Lincoln
two
was
shows.
shot.
One is What's My Line, the other is I've Got a Secret.
I think it was I've Got a Secret.
Right.
And this guy lived to a really, really old age, and he appeared on the TV. He like told a story to some newspaper in the mid 50s, and then the TV show found out about it, and they had him on the show in I think 1955 or 19.